So today I'm going to be giving you 10 solid tips, and that first step is to list down what you need to catch up on or what you need to study in one place. Meaning, let's say you have 5 subjects: GP, you have math, econs, bio, chemistry. This can be done very easily. You don't need to be some Notion god. For me personally, I just do it on Google Docs. Just create like maybe a 5x2 column and then you just list it down, okay? Or whatever works for you. You can use Excel, you can just write it down as well. But the main rationale, right, for doing this is because you have a big picture of what you need to study and what you need to clear all at one place. So you don't have to like toggle and keep shifting around between to-do lists. My tip for this is that don't be too vague, but also don't be too narrow. What do I mean? When you are too vague means that you're just gonna write, I need to finish tutorial 2 or tutorial 5. Don't do that. Maybe go one step further, like say I need to clear tutorial for thermodynamics, for example. You give the name of the thing that you need to clear, okay? Be specific like that, but also do not be too narrow, meaning you don't have to list down every single subtopic inside. Now, after we have had a big picture, tip number 2, set goals week by week. The truth is that usually because we cannot really estimate and plan in advance how fast we're gonna progress, some things may get in the way. We may get unproductive throughout the week, okay? We may get stuck on some topics, some certain questions, and then that will delay our progress. So what I would suggest is you don't have to plan in advance in detail. You get what I mean? So how to counter this? From the list of things that you want to do, select a few of them, okay, that you think are realistic, and just plan the first week, what you want to achieve by the end of this first week first, and then we see how. It is an iterative process. Now, moving on to the third tip: master and clear concepts one by one consecutively. For example, I'm using a chemistry book from my school last time. Okay, so as you can see, let's say this is a topic, and then each topic there are like all these subtopics that you need to know. You make sure that you really understand this, and then you move on. Okay, so here is what you should not do. Okay, you have your lecture notes with you, right? And then you just basically read through the thing because you want to speed run, you want to like fast game, zoom. This is not a storybook, okay? Please do not treat it like a storybook. This brings me to my fourth and next tip, which is learn fast, apply fast. Like I mentioned just now, in the lecture notes at different checkpoints, right, there are worked examples, or in your tutorials they have the subtopic tagged under like this set of questions. After you learn, let's say, this particular subtopic, this concept, and then you have a chance to apply it, please apply it. Test it. It is the best way to give yourself feedback on how well you have understood this concept. Okay, and then if you don't understand, even better, at least you don't understand, and then you go back, try to re-understand it, instead of leading a double life of you study first and then after that you practice. Okay, this is a logical flaw, because just because you study doesn't mean you can do. So what you need to do is that you need to gel these two things together. In reality, right, especially if you take subjects like biology or geography, I heard right from my friends last time, right, it's crazy. There's no time to just study and then have time to expect to like practice. It's impossible. Building on this point, okay, which I'm going to introduce you to the next tip, is to be always on pattern recognition mode when you are studying. That means you need to flip a switch, right, in your mind to constantly make links and connections. You need to be so into spotting patterns. It's something like you need to be like your Asian parent, like it's like, hey, why are you sick? Oh, because you never drink enough water. So something unrelated, right, but then they could be related. It sounds crazy, right? But let me explain. The first thing is definitions. Pay close attention to the words that are used inside, because these words, right, they can actually link to something else. You see, sometimes in a topic, right, they have so many definitions. Because most of you guys, if you're in science stream, you probably have to take chemistry. So I'll just use the example of chemistry. There's this chapter on thermochemistry, thermodynamics, chemical energetics. Okay, so there's this list of definitions, right? There's this like what standard enthalpy change of reaction, combustion, neutralization, or all the you know what I'm talking about. I want you guys to realize something. Okay, I'll just give you a very simple example from like this exercise that we're gonna do right now. So let's say standard enthalpy change of neutralization. You see the keyword here, right? The heat evolve when 1 mole of water is formed in. Okay, can you see? There's the word heat evolved. Let's compare it to maybe combustion. Okay, combustion is also the heat evolved when 1 mole of. So obviously similarity, the format is the same, correct? It's like quite repetitive. The heat evolved and then heat evolved 1 mole, 1 mole. Let me give you one more example just to contrast this. Standard enthalpy change of atomization, the energy required when 1 mole of gaseous atoms is formed from the element at 298 K and 1 bar. So let me just compare. Maybe I'll take neutralization and then atomization. The difference is that for neutralization, it is heat evolved. But then for atomization, it is energy required. Can you see? Then now you need to go deeper. So what does heat evolve mean? What does energy required mean? When you neutralize things, right, acid base come together, it gives out heat. Because of this, I know that I should write heat evolve, and then I know that the enthalpy change sign is negative. On the other hand, if it's the enthalpy change of atomization is like you break apart, right, correct, or like you from a solid become like a gas. So that's where you know that it is energy required and the enthalpy change sign will be positive. The next tip I have for you is to draw comparisons to relatable things. You can also see it as trying to draw analogies. Use your imagination. Go beyond acronyms. Do some role playing. Let me tell you a story. I used to play Minecraft back when I was in secondary school. You know, young kid, being chilling, no stress, no worries in life, just playing Minecraft. You guys may flame me. I don't really play survival. I play creative mode. Basically, I like to imagine myself as like a governor of the land, some sort of role playing. So in a sense, I built like countries. I just try to imagine myself. Okay, there's like a library here, hospital here. So the geography topic was on urban planning stuff, like, cities, how policies or something like that. So then of course I use that Minecraft analogy to help me better understand it. How exactly? Well, it is more of like, as I'm building it, I just try to imagine like, I try to think back to my notes. If I was the governor, according to what I've studied, what will I be implementing? Is it like more roads, wider drainage, visualize, try to apply, and then you try to like have fun with it. It's a form of self-entertainment. Try to bring that kid out of you, just self-entertain, let loose a bit, take that pressure off. But again, let me know in the comments, whether you agree, whether you think I'm just crazy or not. So having said all that, the next tip is this is very controversial, but listen up. Stop making notes. It's gonna cause you to fail. Just kidding. For some of you guys, definitely it will work. But again, I'm sharing from my own experiences. For O levels, for me back then, it kind of worked. Yes, I wrote notes and then I just studied my own notes. But then for A levels, I think the reason why it didn't work for me was because the content is way too heavy. But let me add in a disclaimer. Stop making notes in hopes to absorb information and have the expectation that you're gonna retain whatever you just written down on your notes for a very long time. Okay, here is why. Basically what I was doing, I was copying. You may think that you are doing work because hands-on, you are doing hands-on. So it will give you the illusion that you are actually doing something productive, but then you're actually not. You're just compiling things. So that is the problem. So that leads me to the solution to take purposeful notes. Okay, do it with a purpose. Don't see it as a way to start learning, but see it as a way to reinforce your learning. Okay, so there's a difference. When you start learning, you're just again copy pasting. You're trying to, in hopes of like spending so many hours of doing hands-on work, right, and feeling productive, right? But the thing is, you're not even actually productive. Instead of doing that, right, see it as a way to reinforce your learning. Like what I said just now, you learn fast, apply fast. Okay, once you're done, then you try to see links and connections. Then after that, then you realize, oh my god, I see this thing. And then without looking at your notes, try not to lah. Okay, you cover it and then you try to craft something out, craft your own storyline. You try to craft your own mind map or whatever that works for you. That will be a way more effective way to take notes. So the third last tip that I have for you is to focus on your corrections. Spend more time on your corrections. There are two types of students. The first type of student thinks that studying stops at the lecture notes. Then you think, okay, you know what? My learning stops here and then now I need to apply. And then I will do the practice. Now, let me introduce you to the second type of student. This student recognizes and sees that the corrections is part of the studying. So in fact, the studying doesn't stop at the lecture notes. In fact, the real studying begins when the correction begins. Having this mindset shift, right, has allowed me to really skyrocket and then change my whole trajectory of everything, confidence, grades, it all ties it together, mental health, you get the point. Okay, maybe not now, but then you will soon, okay, hopefully after this video. There's a reason why there's more to study in your corrections alone compared to just reading your lecture notes. If you really think about it, right, there's so many things to study. Number one, when you're studying your corrections, the thing that you got wrong, that simple question that you got wrong, what do you have to study? Number one, you have to study why you got wrong. You have to look into your answer, like what keyword you need to really think and like try to compare with the answer key. Number two, you also need to study the answer key. The answer key, because they have like bolded keywords that you missed out probably, or like some phrasing, some concept misconception. Third thing, you probably have to go back to your notes to study because of your corrections, because you realize that I forgot how to do this question. But it is these very many things going on that you have to really master and really spend time on. Don't just skim through, don't just like, oh, correction are wrong, then you look at the answer key, then like, oh, okay, oh, no wonder I wrong, then you like move on. No, please don't do that. For me, again, I really encourage the hands-on approach. Use your pen, use your pencil, go and write down. Is to really develop that muscle memory. My ninth tip for you is to find friends who are on the same level as you and then grow together. Okay, so these are what you can also call your accountability buddy lah, like your study group. I guess I want to stress on a part where you can find friends who are on the same level as you, same wavelength, you know, same frequency, same energy lah, same vibe, you know. It's a very mutual and healthy support system. Help each other, okay, test each other, teach each other. Okay, you will remember actually way better. Also, it will be good, go consult your school teachers together about what both of you know, what both of you don't know, and then you reinforce each other. My last and final tip, and that is using AI or ChatGPT to help you. There's a certain way that you can prompt or you can ask ChatGPT to help you give you better results. Because sometimes it can be frustrating, like ChatGPT may give you inaccurate answers. So I myself have used it. I'm now in uni. This is my humble dorm room. I've used it and it's amazing. I tell you, it's a lifesaver. Let me give you a few examples. The first example is role playing. Ask ChatGPT to be your personal tutor. The second way you can utilize it effectively is to ask ChatGPT to come up with questions to test you. On top of saying what is your role, you are a super Cambridge tutor, you know, who is renowned worldwide. Now you say, now I want you to come up with a set of specific questions to test me for that topic or for that concept. The third way, when you're not sure about something, you know, you don't know how to do certain parts of the question, or like when you're doing corrections, you don't understand, you can literally go up and clarify. You know, it is literally better than Google. So clarify anything instantly lah. Okay, so you don't have to wait for consults or your friend to reply anymore. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Tell me what you want to watch next, and I will see you guys in the next video.